Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and today we're finally ranking... Oh, poor Black Widow. We're finally ranking MCU's Phase 4 movies. Wow, this was a way harder than I thought it was going to be. I was trying to put together these lists. Some of them were easy to place, like, what's that, number 1? But that was like the only easy one, I think. Like, even though Phase 4 is definitely the weakest phase, I'm still surprised on how hard this list was to make. But yeah, I have to warn you guys, I have some very controversial picks though, so if you disagree with me, let me know in the comment section down below what you disagree with me about and why. Like, we're all gonna have different rankings. That's awesome. I would absolutely love to see what yours is. I would love to see what's different between my list and your list, so please tell me what it is down in the comments below. And I guess we should get started, but oh my goodness, part of me is like I might make last minute changes with what I have written down, but we'll see what happens. Because for now, in last place, this could change like by the time I stop recording. But for now, in last place, I'm going with Eternals. Now, I don't know. This movie is definitely... It was okay. It was an okay movie. Like, there's some good in it. The visuals are amazing. Like, Phase 4 has had meh visual effects, CGI. I think Eternals might have the best CGI in Phase 4. But when it comes to everything else, the story was okay. It wasn't terrible. The characters, some of them were great, but all of my favorite characters from that movie weren't the main characters. Like, I loved Makari, I loved Druig, I loved Kingo. The rest were kind of forgettable and dull. Even though, like, Cersei's supposed to be our main character, I do want to see more of Black Knight, though. I do admit that. And yeah, the movie's way too long and way too short at the same time, because it's way too long. Like, I feel like I'm constantly checking my watch when I was watching it, especially the second time. And then, but it's also too short because it felt like we needed way more time for them to tell this story because of how many characters there were and because of how huge in scale and how many decades it took over. So yeah, I almost had it at number 6, but then I was like, I'm not so sure if I want it at number 6 or not. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if this changes in the future when I update this list. But yeah, next up at number 6, we have Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. That's the wrong character. This is another controversial pick because I know some people have this way higher, especially they have it higher than at least 2 that I know of that are on this list, that are higher on this list. To me, it's just, this wasn't an okay film. Like, it sucks too because I was extremely hyped. This was honestly my most hyped movie of the year 2022, and it was meh. So there are cool elements in it. The horror, even though I myself am not a horror fan, wasn't too bad. It was pretty good. It was cool the way they did a lot of the horror in it. The story felt way too rushed. Like, I mean, they had like the memory lane booth or whatever it was called, which to me felt like really lazy. Now, I mean, I can't talk. I might, if I were to write this, I'd probably have some sort of lazy excuse to do backstory too. But like the fact that it felt so obvious, like the first time watching this movie, I was like, really? A memory lane device? Wow. Okay. Wow. Okay, that felt lazy. So that was just the cameos. I was not disappointed by the lack of cameos. However, I feel like they were just there to die. Like, they were kind of pointless. The fact that the title's Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, it should not have been called that. It should have been called Scarlet Witch Horrors of the Multiverse. Because even though, yes, they do discover the multiverse, we get how many? I think we got like 3 worlds. One of them is our own. And they're not that much different from ours. Like, the one we go to has pizza balls, go on red, and weird-looking buildings. I was hoping for something crazy. Like, I was hoping we get like an animated world. We get like, we don't even need like cameos. Like, we didn't need like Spider-Man 2099 or the X-Men from the Fox universe. I would have been happy if we just got different kinds of worlds where like Doctor Strange Doctor Strange was like some other superhero, like maybe Doctor Strange was a Guardian of the Galaxy, or something crazy, like what if the world was taken over by Dormammu, like situation like that. But you know, we didn't get much of that. And the Scarlet Witch's character arc in this, I was not a fan of either, because like, first of all, if you don't have Disney Plus and you didn't get to watch WandaVision, you're seeing her go from this hero in Endgame to this full-on psycho villain in Multiverse of Madness. And for those of us who do have Disney Plus, who did watch WandaVision, which was great by the way, I still felt like we skipped out on a whole lot of her character, because on a scale of 1 to 10, on the evil scale, 1 being anti-hero, 10 being supervillain, I feel like WandaVision took her from like a 1 to a 4, maybe a 5, and then the next time we see her, in Multiverse of Madness, she's at 11. Like, yes, she was slowly going on this path towards evil. Yes, she was. I agree. But she went total psycho, and their excuse is, oh, well, she was reading the Darkhold. What? We didn't even get to see her read the Darkhold and turn evil. We should have seen her at least, seen her snap, but, oh wow. We didn't get to see that, whatever. I'll calm down now. And this is also like the only movie, I think, even in Phase 4, where I walked out of the theater like, I'm not sure if I like that movie. Because like, even Eternals, which is lower in this, and Love and Thunder, which we'll talk about later, I walked out of the theater like, that wasn't terrible. That was pretty fun. This is the one movie that it wasn't until rewatch where I was like, oh, okay, this movie isn't terrible. Like, that's just crazy, but, you know, I understand people like it. I understand why they like it. Sam Raimi's direction was awesome in it, in my personal opinion. I loved his visual style. I thought it was cool. But that's pretty much it. Anyway, let's stop talking about Multiverse Madness. Let's talk about the next one. Because bringing us into the top 5, we have Thor, Love and Thunder.
For the sake of Asgard,
yes, I know this is another controversial pick. Some people have this the bottom, second to last, third to last. I know some people even have this at dead last. And I can understand why. There's so much wasted potential in this movie. You have 2 of the greatest Thor storylines in the comic books, in my personal opinion at least. That being Gore the God Butcher story and the Mighty Thor Jane story. Those are 2 of the greatest Thor comic book storylines in my personal opinion. And they also were somehow able to convince Natalie Portman to come back as Jane Foster. They were somehow able to convince Christian Bale to be Gore the God Butcher, which I never thought would happen. And Taika Waititi, who directed the best Thor movie, was coming back. So I was like, oh my gosh, this movie's going to be great. It didn't live up to that premise because it went full-blown, hilarious, silly, goofy parody comedy. And I'll admit, I still enjoyed that. It was because of the fact that it was funny and a lot of the jokes landed for me personally. Humor suggestive, whatever. I can't talk. But so everyone's different. So like, I laughed at most of the jokes. Some people didn't laugh at any. That was weird. He can levitate apparently. So I understand that people aren't going to be as big into this film as I was. Like, I walked out of the theater being like, I really enjoyed that. Part of that could have been I was still salty about Multiverse of Madness. But still, like, I didn't hate it. But there is a whole lot of wasted potential in this movie. This movie should have been so much better. It did feel very rushed, which, yeah, it felt very rushed. I mean, the whole Eternity thing, in my personal opinion, felt lazy. Almost as lazy as the Memory Lane thing in Multiverse Madness. Like, me personally, I feel like the story should have just been, they have to stop Gore because he's going out murdering gods. Like, in my personal opinion, this might make me sound violent, but when they went to see Zeus and all those gods, that huge room full of gods, Gore should have showed up and killed every last one of them, every single one of them, to prove that he is the God Butcher. They didn't do that. I also was kind of hoping they bring in the gods from Moon Knight and kill them off too. Have Gore kill them off too, but they didn't do that either, which, I mean, part of me understands that. They might want to do more with that for Moon Knight Season 2 if they do that, but anyway, I should probably stop talking about Love and Thunder now and move on to what I have at number 4, because at number 4, I have another controversial one, Black Widow. Me personally, I understand why people are not a fan of this movie. The third act was okay. The CGI wasn't the best during it. Everything else was okay in it. That finale. The villains were meh. Taskmaster was completely ruined. I mean, the concept of Taskmaster I thought was a good idea if it was a completely brand new original character. Which, I mean, it kind of was. But the fact that they made it Taskmaster, just ruins it. They should have gave it a completely different name, completely different skill set, and it would have been pretty interesting villain in my personal opinion. But because of the fact they made it Taskmaster, this awesome villain in the comic books, that ruined it. Hopefully Thunderbolts, she gets even better. Maybe they'll, like, I don't know, hopefully they'll upgrade her skills a bit more, make her a cooler character, because like her fight scenes were really awesome, but I think a decent amount of the action in this movie were pretty good. We were introduced to two of my favorite characters in Phase 4, that being Red Guardian and Yelena Below, but they were awesome, almost Steelers. And of course, this movie should have came out years ago, 2016, Phase 3, right after Civil War, maybe even 2017. And I personally feel like this should have been Black Widow 3. We should have gotten Black Widow 1 in Phase 1 as her origin story, showing us what happened in the Red Room. Then we should have gotten a second film advancing her character in present day by herself in Phase 2. And then Phase 3 we should have got, after 2016, we should have gotten this movie to help set up Infinity War as well as Yelena and Red Guardian. That didn't happen, obviously. But, you know, whatever. Well, there's nothing I can do about it, so. Yeah. However, I must say, I absolutely loved the first 15, 20, 30 minutes of this movie. The whole opening with young Natasha and young Yelena. Pretty much the very beginning all the way up to the title card. I absolutely loved that intro. The best opening in Phase 4. One of my favorite openings in the entire MCU, maybe. I just love that opening scene. I just thought it was great. So that's probably the best part, in my personal opinion, of the movie. Like, instead of being like, should we watch Black Widow? I think I'm gonna rewatch the first 15 minutes of it. But yeah, we should probably move on though to the top 3, because the top 3, for me personally, were the hard. Well, 3 and 2 for me personally were the hardest, because I could not decide which one I liked more between 3 and 2. Number 1 is number 1. That was easy. But like, oh my goodness, like part of me is doubting this list right here that I'm looking at, because like I'm like, do I want to switch these two last minute? I don't know what I want to do. I don't know. It's so hard. I think I'm just gonna. Don't hit me. Get out of here. Stupid cane dude. Anyway. Alright, I'm gonna say it the way I have it written down. But this very much could change literally right after I say it. So here it is. Here it goes. I'm gonna say it. At number 3, we have Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was a great introduction to Shang-Chi. The action was amazing in this movie. I love the character Shang-Chi, Katie. I'm blanking on his sister's name. His sister, I really enjoyed her too. The Mandarin was a great villain. I thought he was an amazing villain. They killed him off way too soon, but still, I thought he was a great villain. And they even made me like Trevor Slattery, the fake Mandarin, way more than I originally did. So that's cool too. It introduced one of the greatest characters in the MCU, that being Morris. Oh my gosh. He should get his own solo Disney Plus show. That'd be awesome. I'd watch it too. I watched I Am Groot. I'd watch a Morris show. So, but yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. The finale to me was a bit like, okay, I'm not sure if this finale really fits. Like, it's obviously that. Oh my gosh, that person's floating. I'm not sure if you guys can see that up there. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but I thought the movie was great. I thought the finale was a bit meh. It's obviously the same complaint everyone always says: the CGI big battle at the end, and like, how was Katie able to get a perfect shot off with no years of practice? I don't know. I don't care, because I really enjoyed the movie, and yeah, I really like it. I almost want to put it at number 2. But I think I'm not going to for now, and we'll see what happens later on. For now, at number 2, I'm going Black Panther Wakanda Forever. Quick spoiler alert, I'm going to dive into mild spoilers for this movie. So if you didn't get to see it yet, feel free to skip to number 1, and then rewatch this video once you've seen it. But yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was really good. The opening was already jaw-dropping. if Black Widow had the best opening in Phase 4, this movie has the best ending in Phase 4. I thought the ending was just so amazing and beautiful and moving. And I love the fact that they ended it right there with you feeling those emotions. Like, they just ended it where you felt that emotion. Like, the fact that it had this huge emotional thing, literally the moment Shuri opened her eyes after remembering T'Challa, it went to credits. That was just, I love that. I love that they did that. I love seeing more of Shuri. Shuri was one of my favorite characters. I loved M'Baku and Okoye, so I liked seeing them in here. I wish they got more screen time, but they were still awesome in the movie. And yeah, the acting was amazing. Letitia Wright was awesome. Angela Bassett was amazing. She has some of the best speeches in this movie. I feel like she had more to do in this movie too. Her death was surprisingly emotional. Namor was a great villain in my personal opinion. Namor, however you pronounce it, however you want to pronounce it, was a great villain. I thought they did such a great job with him. He felt almost more like an anti-hero because of the fact that he just wanted to do what was right for his nation. That's all he wanted. Now the movie does feel too long. Like, it's a bit too long. Like, it could have been a bit shorter. I feel like that does hurt its rewatchability for me personally. Plus the fact that it can be really heavy, so that therefore makes it a bit harder to rewatch. But the fact that it was so heavy, I think, really helped the movie. And I'm not gonna lie, the first time I watched this movie, I very much felt the presence of Chadwick Boseman, T'Challa, Black Panther was missing. I very much felt that was missing. My second time watching it, I didn't feel that. I felt like, okay, this is a Wakanda story. Shuri's character arc I thought was great in this movie, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. And if we didn't get the movie at #1, then this could have been #1 possibly. But then again, I almost put this at #3 because I really like Shang-Chi, but I'm going #2 for now. At #1, you all know what it is. Not only process of elimination, but also, I mean, it's everyone's #1 because it's the greatest ever, and that is, at #1, we have Spider-Man No Way Home. I love this movie. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. He's my favorite superhero of all time. And the fact that this helped conclude Tom Holland's trilogy. We got, spoilers for this movie, but you should have seen it by now. We got Toby and Andrew back for a great time, and it wasn't just like a quick 5-second cameo, like, oh look, it's that person, goodbye. They were there. They had awesome action scenes. They had some payoffs from their older movies, as well as helping Tom Holland's Peter, reach his further his character arc. It also was hilarious while also being dark and emotional. Aunt May's death was just extremely emotional. Willem Dafoe's Green Goblin continues to be an amazing, incredible villain. Doc Ock, also amazing and incredible. They made Electro way better than he was in Amazing Spider-Man 2. However, even though Sam was a great villain in my personal opinion, Spider-Man 3, I feel like they didn't do justice to him, really. In No Way Home, he didn't get to do much. I feel like Lizard felt like he was just there. And even though I know a lot of people are like, you only like this movie because of fan service, because of nostalgia, and anybody who watches only the MCU, not Spider-Man movies, won't understand it. Well, even though I kind of see that, because one, if you're someone who didn't see the other Spider-Man movies, yes, I feel like that does kind of hurt the experience. I don't think it would confuse people, because I don't think it'd be too hard to be like, oh, they're alternate dimension Spider-Man and alternate dimension supervillains. However, I do feel like you are missing a lot. And I know a lot of people are not going to, like, oh, you know how you had to watch these 20 movies? Well, yeah, you have to go back and watch like 6 more that aren't even connected. Wait, what? Why do I have to do that? Yeah, I kind of understand that, but I'm a Spider-Man fan who did see those movies. Therefore, I absolutely love this movie. It's awesome. But yeah, I ended up really enjoying this film. I love it. I just love Spider-Man. Also, so that definitely helps. The ending was an amazing ending and beginning. And yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. And that's my ranking of the MCU Phase 4. However, I do want to mention one more thing. Spider-Man Far From Home, I know it's technically the end of Phase 3 in the Infinity Saga. I personally don't count it in the Infinity Saga. Like, if I do marathons of only the Infinity Saga, I end it at Endgame. And whenever I do Phase 4 marathons, I begin it with Far From Home. For a number of reasons. One, Endgame feels like the ending. Two, Far From Home also, like, sets up the multiverse, technically. So, I didn't include it in this ranking for the main reason that being no one else counts it, so a lot of people might be confused. But if you are wondering where it would place, because I do consider it Phase 4, I would put it above Black Widow and under Shang-Chi. So like, that would make it 8. That would mean there would be 8 movies, so it would be number 4. So, but I didn't include it this time. But I am curious, do you consider it Phase 4 or Phase 3? Let me know in the comments down below. Feel free to include it in your ranking of the Phase 4 films if you want to, or don't. I would love to hear your thoughts on both how you would rank these movies, as well as do you consider Far From Home Phase 4 or Phase 3? And yeah, thank you so much for taking time to watch this video. If you like this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos like this, I've ranked a whole bunch of other stuff, as well as done a whole bunch of movie reviews. I've reviewed every movie on this list. So if you want my details, if you want even more thoughts from me on these movies, feel free to go check out those reviews. And yeah, it means so much to me when you guys hit like and subscribe. I just love it. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much for being subscribed. It means a lot to me. Yeah, so thank you so much for taking time to watch. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. And a quick note, if you're waiting for my ranking of the TV shows, I'm going to make that eventually. I'm waiting for the holiday special. Plus, I never get videos out when I want, on time like I want to. So we'll see what happens. Thank you so much for watching. I'm done talking. This video is probably long. It feels like I've been talking a while. I'll shut up now. Bye. Thanks for watching.